Hi, I'm Lisa Fletcher, and you're in the stream. Today, after deadly bombings in Karachi and neighboring Balochistan, Pakistan's Shia minority say if the government won't protect them, it may be time to protect themselves. As always, our digital producer, Malika Bilal, is here looking out for all your live interaction. Malika, 3 attacks against Pakistan's Shia community since the start of this year. So many members of our community asking us to revisit this situation, and today, TweetDeck just exploding over the topic.
Exactly, Lisa. So we last did a story on Balochistan and the plight of Hazaras in May. And since then, we've gotten near daily calls on Facebook and Twitter and other social media platforms asking us for a follow-up. Like this one from Jamal Nasser, who says, there's a human catastrophe happening in Balochistan. The international media should end #media blackout in Balochistan. Now, for those of you at home, we want you to add your voice to the conversation as well. So use the #AJStream.
And to Malika's right is Mohammed Taki. He is the lead columnist for the Daily Times, Pakistan, who has been writing about sectarian violence in the country. Mohammed, welcome to the stream.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Malika. Glad to be on the show.
We're glad to have you. We'd also like to welcome our Google Plus Hangout, who will be joining us throughout this discussion. And of course, you can join the stream via Google Plus as well. All you have to do is go to that link that you see there below and add us to your circles.
I'm Ryan Davis, and I'm a social media strategist, and I'm in the stream.
Deadly bombings have killed several hundred Shia Muslims in Pakistan this year. On Sunday, 2 explosions in Karachi left 45 dead and wounded more than 140 others. Although no group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack, all fingers are pointed at Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, or LEJ. The banned militant group, known for targeting the Shia minority, has admitted to carrying out 2 large bombings in neighboring Balochistan province. Now, since the early 1990s, it's estimated that sectarian violence has claimed the lives of more than 4,000 Shia Muslims, who make up nearly 20% of Pakistan's population. So today we ask, why has the government of Pakistan been unsuccessful in providing security for this minority group? And what needs to be done to protect them? To help us answer some of these questions, we're also joined via Skype by Major Nader Ali, senior leader of the Hazara tribe. Major Nader, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Now, it's important to note that Pakistan's Interior Minister, Rahman Malik, also agreed to join us today. But due to an urgent trip to Karachi, obviously in the wake of the bombing, he could not be with us. So instead, we're going to play parts of a pre-recorded interview conducted with Mr. Malik. I'd like to start, though, with you, Major Nader. You know, you were on our program last May. The day after you were on our show, you were going to the Supreme Court, and you were going to present your case. And you were very, very hopeful that you were going to get some kind of a positive response and, frankly, some help. You know, you fast forward to now, we've had 3 major bombings this year, and things not only don't seem to be getting better, they seem to be getting worse. Why are the Hazara still being targeted, and why does it seem to be escalating?
When we spoke, I was hopeful that the government will come to our help. They will listen to us, and we also requested that the international community will come to our help. But of course, we have been highly disappointed because the government has not helped us at all. The situation is from bad to worse. The Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, who is targeting us, is more active in the area. Let me introduce you the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi. They are the organization who helped Al-Qaeda Arab people, who escaped from Afghanistan. They were helped to escape via Balochistan, Makran coast by giving them false passports and all that. The Hazaras are being killed, are being targeted because one is the Shia, the other is that we are minority. We really see only it was the government to help us, and because we don't retaliate.
As we mentioned earlier, Al Jazeera spoke to Pakistan's Interior Minister about the recent attacks in Balochistan. Here are his thoughts on why these attacks are taking place.
This is obviously a conspiracy. And when I say a conspiracy, you have to go 10 years back, what is happening in this country, particularly Balochistan, how BLA has been killing people, how they have been claiming, and we had seen certain annexes between Lashkar-e-Jhangvi and BLA. And now they know that certain faction of societies to be touched, and they are using sectarian strife. So if they kill Shias, they will react, and obviously it will create situation, a chaos in the country, especially this new wave, which according to our assessment is to stop the elections.
He says that they're using this to destabilize and to stop the elections. Is it just political, or is there more to it?
Actually, I'm afraid that the Interior Minister of Pakistan just told a blatant lie. He pinned it on the Baloch nationalists and a nexus between the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi and the Baloch nationalists. This is absolutely not true. I wish we had a Baloch nationalist leader here who would actually defend the Baloch nationalists. The organizations, the Baloch and Brahui organizations that the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi has a nexus with, those are actually the front organizations for Pakistani army. Baloch Musallat Difai Tanzim and several other outfits are there. Basically, these guys have been in bed together since the heyday of the Taliban. I would name some names: Riaz Basra and Akram Lahori, who were the founders of the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi. They fought against the Hazara Shia in Afghanistan back in 1998, and alongside them, three Baloch people, Dawood Badini, Shafiq Rind, and Usman Saifullah Kurd fought.
Okay, I'm going to pause you there. I want you to listen to one more thing from the Interior Minister. We asked him what was being done to stop more attacks from happening. Sure. Piggybacks off what we're just talking about.
Well, the patrolling is being enhanced, the law is being also enhanced, and then of course governor rules has been imposed after sacking the provincial government, only with the view to enhance the capability of the government, and obviously to the trust of the people. People in Balochistan, particularly Quetta, demanded the governor rule, and we did that. And now this is being jointly handled by the police and the Frontier Corps. And obviously with their combined actions, the ransom cases have almost gone to zero. Target killing in Quetta has gone more than 70% has been controlled.
Okay, so Mohammed, the Interior Minister is saying they've reduced the violence, in some cases up to 70% or more.
Well, obviously, the numbers speak for themselves. There is no reduction in violence. There was a huge bombing in the Hazara town, as we know, last month, and then now in Karachi. And what he's been pointing out is very inaccurate. The first order of the day, when the governor's rule was imposed, they went out and they hunted down the Baloch Liberation Army leaders and men, and they shot them. So far, very little has been done against the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi. And here's a method to this madness. What the Pakistani state agencies have been trying to do is they are trying to stem the rising tide of the Baloch nationalism, which is actually, they are fighting for self-determination and liberation. And to counter them, they have introduced this religious virus among the Balochi, especially the Brahui sections. It had been there, like I gave you the names, that they have been working together since 1995. So it is not that the Baloch nationalists are going out and making a nexus with the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi. It is the Pakistani state which has been actually encouraging and providing all sorts of logistic supports to these terrorist groups. And one arm of Lashkar, a breakaway faction of Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, as they call it, Jaish-e-Mohammed.
So we're going to get to that a little later on in the show, whether there's an alliance between government and these banned groups. But
in this discussion, what our community is saying is that something that often gets lost are these personal stories. On Facebook, Esmat says, I'm a Hazara student living in China. I came here not by choice, but because I had no other option. It's only because we Hazaras are no more safe in Pakistan. And a tweet from Esmat, who also says, Hazara are surrounded by the fear of death. They can't go outside with the hope of returning back to their homes. I want to go now to our hangout, where Sajjad Changazi is speaking to us. Sajjad is a human rights activist and Hazara, and you've personally been affected by the violence. You've lost family members, correct?
Yes, thank you. I would like to clarify one thing, that Mr. Malik's claim about a united front shared by Balochistan Liberation Army, BLA, which is a nationalist group, and Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, is nothing but blatant lie. Being someone who lives in Quetta, someone who lives in Balochistan, I can see a clear difference in how security establishment is tackling the Baloch nationalist movement, and then how it tackles the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi and Taliban. While thousands of Baloch activists are abducted, tortured, killed, and dumped. Not a single Lashkar-e-Jhangvi killer has received justice. In fact, Usman Saifullah Kurd was helped to flee from the high security jail in Quetta cantonment. While Baloch activists can never appear on camera, Lashkar-e-Jhangvi and Ahl Sunnat wal Jamaat workers appeared with armed men in the press clubs. They publish daily press releases, detailed press releases, taking responsibility for their takes. And
Major Nadir, I want to bring you in here. You know, Human Rights Watch has said that the government has taken no significant action to protect those under threat or hold any of the extremists accountable, as our guest in the Hangout was just alluding to. Why has the government failed?
Well, of course, we had demanded that, you know, after our sit-in protest, that there should be an army operation targeted. But unfortunately, that has not taken place so far, and they have completely failed in doing that.
But why have they failed? Mohammed, have they intentionally failed? Do they not want to get involved? Are they afraid to get involved?
They absolutely do not want to rein in these people. They have set them up to neutralize the Baloch nationalist movement. That is one area. Then inside Punjab, that is the heartland of Pakistan, where the majority of the assorted Deobandi, Salafi, Wahhabi, basically people subscribing to the literalist interpretation of Islam and subscribing to terror as a weapon of political force are holed up. And the Pakistani army's eyes are on post-2014 Afghanistan. They basically want to continue the role that they played during the 1990s in Afghanistan, and these are actually their foot soldiers that they intend to use there. They are not going to go after them. They never have. They actually have. This is Usman Saifullah Kurd was not the only one who was sprung for jail. As you recall, Maulana Masood Azhar was sprung from the Indian jail. They went to the extent of actually hijacking an Indian plane, and a convict, a fugitive, was received like a hero in Pakistan. And that is a guy who holds a rally and he says, that is the Jaish-e-Muhammad and Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, we are one and the same thing. We are brothers in arms. And those guys roam free, and they are roaming free in Pakistan, in the heartland of Pakistan, in Punjab. And I would get to why the political spinelessness and inaction is there. Because a lot of these political parties, including the Muslim League Nawaz, which is the ruling party in Punjab, and Pakistan People's Party, they have electoral nexuses, alliances and adjustments with the Ahl Sunnat wal Jamaat, which is actually another name for Sipahi Sahaba Pakistan, which is basically a political front for the terrorist Lashkar-e-Jhangvi.
I'm going to interrupt you there, because you just mentioned something that they're roaming free. The people that are behind the attacks are roaming free. People are picking up on that. Goal says the Hazara are right to be skeptical. There is no evidence of a change of heart, either by the civilian government or by the military. Now I want to go back to our hangout, where Shahraz Hussain is with us. He's the son of a Shia political politician killed by the LEJ. Shahraz, tell us your story and how this has affected you.
Hello, everyone. My father was a political activist working for the Shias of Khurram Agency, Parachana, for past 13 years. He knocked on all government doors asking for security for the Shias of that region, more than 400,000 Shias of that region. He had been receiving threats for the past 10 years, and whenever he would go to the government, especially who was in contact with Mr. Rahman Malik, they always made either false promises that were never fulfilled, or they turned blind eye to the whole situation. Mr. Rahman Malik blames it on the conspiracy, but I would say it's inefficiency of the government, or for some reason they're just ignoring this. Why is that?
Well, Mohammed, you mentioned that the LEJ are just roaming around with impunity. Not only are they just roaming around, they've also been very open about targeting Pakistan's Shia Muslim community. Yes. In fact, after the February attack in Quetta, the spokesperson for the LEJ warned the Shia community in Balochistan not to feel safe. In fact, his statements echoed in an LEJ open letter that circulated a year and a half ago. The LEJ said, all Shiites are worthy of killing. Just as our fighters have waged a successful jihad against the Shiite Hazaras in Afghanistan, our mission in Pakistan is the abolition of this impure sect and its followers from every city, every village, and every nook and corner of Pakistan. So, Mohammed, it sounds like ethnic cleansing. Why is the LEJ so adamant about getting rid of the Shias?
Well, you see, it is a two-way street. When the Pakistani state as an ideology adopts a literalist interpretation of Islam, and they use as their foot soldiers these people who subscribe to a takfiri ideology, which basically is an exclusivist ideology, they not only don't accept anyone else within the pale of Islam, but they also consider them wajibul qatl, which means worthy of killing. So these guys don't work 9 to 5 and take weekends off as Pakistani army wants them to do. Sometimes it doesn't happen. They moonlight during their off time, killing Shias. They have been doing this for decades, so they have their own agenda to pursue. Maybe General Kiani may not want the Shia to be killed, but the people that he has hired to do his bidding in Afghanistan and elsewhere, they absolutely have an agenda against the Shia, and they want to cleanse that. But overall, the outlook of Pakistani state has been a Wahhabified Islamic state, and where Shia by default are the odd man out. They just don't fit in that perspective. And on top of that, the Shiite are relatively prosperous. And I would go back to Shahroz. I knew of his dad. He was my senior in the medical school. And I have heard from other doctors from my region who have been told that after Dr. Riaz Hussain, you are the next. So it goes on, and as you know, in the genocide jargon, there's a word herbicide, where the urban exponents of certain communities are targeted and killed, basically to instill fear. You know, that would trigger exodus of those people,
Right.
Those communities, conceal their faith, or just be scared.
Well, we asked the Interior Minister what was being done to prevent this, and here's what he said.
30 of them have been arrested in Karachi. We are arresting wherever we get the indications. And let me tell you, I'm not rude to anybody. Anybody who's having a beard or is following the Islamic values, you cannot touch everybody on the street. Are you from Lashkar-e-Jhangvi? Are you from Spy Saba? Are you Jaish-e-Mohammed? In this country, there's a freedom of movement, there is a freedom of speech. The people take their actions. But those who are involved in crime, we are using our geofencing, we are using many other capabilities to get them, and we have arrested a number of them. They have even, you have seen, in counter attacks by the police, they have been found dead. They have been killed because encountering with the police. But also, just have a deep look into it. It's not all that Shia Sunni. They're all friends. They treat each other as brothers and sisters. What's the problem? Problem is the conspiracy to destabilize Pakistan, particularly Quetta.
Major Nader, has anything been done to improve the security for Shias and Hazaras, and has anything been done by the government to stop the pain and suffering for these people after these attacks?
Well, they have only constructed a wall around the Hazara dwelling area, which we never wanted. We wanted them to have an operation by the army, targeted operation, which they have not done and which they refused to run rather. So they have not done anything so far for us, despite the fact that we have been shouting for help of the government for the last 10 years since 1999, and the thing has been deteriorating always, from 99 up till this 2013.
Well, Fayaz, in our hangout, we just heard Rahman Malik say that Sunnis and Shias are friends. There's no problem. Aman on Facebook says, the biggest tragedy for me as a Hazara is the silence of non-Hazara and non-Shias of Quetta. Their silence means they are morally supporting the terrorists, and terrorists can operate easily. There's also a video comment along those same lines. Have a listen.
The biggest tragedy is the silence of non-Hazaras or non-Shias, especially the ones living in Quetta. There were about 130 places in Pakistan where people came out for the support of Hazaras, but I am afraid there was not a single protest or sit-in in Quetta by the non-Hazaras or non-Shias. Their silence gives moral support to the terrorists. Thanks.
So he's talking about a lack of support. Fayaz, you're the Secretary of Information for Karachi, Ahl wa Sunnah wa Jamaat. Would you agree with that sentiment?
Yes. First of all, I want to say this. Everyone says there is a kind of Shia genocide. It is 100% wrong. Look, if there is a kind of blast or attack in a market on a common place where the common people go and come, it is not called genocide. genocide which is being happening in Karachi against Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. In last 4 years, 600 ulama were killed. If you kill the leader of the nation, if you kill the ulama, if you kill Aimma Masajid and these kind of people and teachers and professors and literate people, it means you are doing something against the nation, and it is happening in Pakistan. And the second thing is that whatever happened in Balochistan against Hazara, it is 100% not was the based on Shia Sunni clashes. They have their tribal kind of clashes and problems between Ali Madad Jatak and Kurd tribal, and they themselves, Major Nadir is here, they asked police, they raid on the home of Ali Madad Jatak, he is also Shia, and Kurd tribal, they came in 1983 and they killed 700 people over there. They took 300
okay, so
women.
Fayaz, I don't want to mean to interrupt you, but I want to ask you, so if you don't believe this is genocide and you don't believe that this is targeted against the Shia, that Shia and Sunni alike are being subjected to this terrorism style of violence, do you think the Sunni community is ready to mobilize in support of the Shia and band together against LEJ?
Ulama are being killed in Karachi. It is happening in Karachi every day. 2, 3, 4, 5 ulama and the student of Madaris, they are being killed here in Karachi. And the second thing, they say Lashkar-e-Jhangvi and Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, this is the same thing.
Okay,
no,
okay. I want to go to Ali in the hangout. Ali, Major Nadir said that they've been asking for help since 1999. There hasn't been any meaningful intervention on the part of the government, and now we're to a point where people, young people, in Pakistan are ready to take up arms, young Hazara. Is this a good idea? You know, you've not fought back with violence since 1999. Now you're thinking about it. What's changed, and is that just going to result in more bloodshed? Ali?
Sorry?
Ali?
Yeah, I'm here. So first of all, I would like to thank Al Jazeera for shedding light on this important issue. A Shia genocide is happening in Pakistan for the last 20 years. More than 21,000 people have died. These are not just Hazaras, these are from all ethnic backgrounds of Pakistan. And it will continue because of people like Mr. Fayaz who deny it, and how they justify it and patronize it, justifying that few...
Okay, Ali, but let's talk about the idea of young people taking up arms now and fighting violence with violence. Do you think that's going to happen, and you think that's a good solution?
I think eventually it will come to that, but at the same time it hasn't yet. I haven't witnessed a Shia suicide bomber hitting a Railway mosque or a Deobandi mosque as yet. All of Pakistan hasn't. Why hasn't that happened? If the narrative that drone attacks produce suicide bombers, and if innocents are killed and that produce suicide bombers, why haven't Shias retaliated? Maybe there's some problem with the ideology, and here we come to the core of the problem. There is a radical ideology. This is right Islam versus wrong Islam. This is happening for years. It will happen for years until the society counters this narrative.
I have to make 2 points here. Going back to the Sipai Sahaba guy from Karachi, he was saying that there's no such thing going on. His own leader, Aurangzeb Farooqi, actually released a statement not too long ago. He is a leader of the Ahlus Sunnat wal Jamaat, which is actually a misnomer because it's a Wahhabi Deobandi outfit.
About 30 seconds left in the show.
Sure, and they basically said that they would make life so miserable for the Shia in Pakistan that they would be like pariahs. No one would shake hands with them. You know, if this is the kind of hate speech that has been going around, followed by targeted killings, followed by bombings, you know, you've not seen any Shia go blow up a bridge or bomb a mosque. It is not happening. It is only these guys who have been doing it. It's a one-way street. It's not a sectarian conflict. It's not a tit-for-tat conflict. It is actually armed to the teeth outfit going out and taking out civilians.
I'm going to pause you right there. We're going to continue this program in our online post show. So head over to stream.aljazeera.com if you're not there already. Welcome to the Streams Online Post Show. We're going to pick up where we left off. Mohammed Taki talking about the wisdom of people in the Hazara community taking up arms, fighting violence with violence.
I absolutely would not endorse any such idea. Yes, there's an old Persian saying, Tang Ahmad Bajang Ahmad, if you're pushed to the wall, you fight back. But what we have seen in Afghanistan and in Pakistan, that local militias were formed, and actually it led to a lot of internecine warfare, warlordism, and particularly in Pakistan, outside my own city of Peshawar, Adizai Lashkar, in Swat, there were Lashkar that was, Lashkars are basically armed militias created by the Pakistan army. They were theoretically supposed to fight the terrorists with the help of the Pakistani state. But when the time came, these militias and Lashkars were abandoned by the Pakistani army. Pir Samiullah, the leader of one of the Lashkars, he was killed, and not only killed, his grave was dug up and he was hung up in Swat. So that's an absolutely abhorrent idea, and I would not profess anything but non-violence. And but what I want to say is that the state has a responsibility to actually protect its citizens. Genocide is not actually just a commission of atrocity. It is also where you are letting things happen. The Pakistani state, and that is under the Geneva Convention, the UN Convention 1948 on genocide prevention, that the state sovereignty does not mean license to kill. The sovereignty means accountability, both within and without. And if the state is not protecting its citizens, then like forums like these, Al Jazeera, or even going up to UN and in the international community through diplomatic measures, pushes Pakistani government to act, Pakistani military to act and rein in these actors. And if they don't, then there's a collective.
You're firmly against people taking up arms. Our community agrees with you. Resik says arming local citizens will only mean legalizing terrorism and innocent killings. And of course, Hazaras will be the first victims. Shoaib follows up saying arming young people who should otherwise be in colleges and universities should never be an option. Pakistan can't afford a young generation deprived of education. But Salim, in our hangout, I want you to have a listen to this video comment with a little bit of a nuanced view.
In the light of current Shia genocide, I request all human beings of different school of thought to make their voice heard against brutality and violence, to prove their existence as human being on this planet. And I also urge and demand the government of Pakistan and administration to provide the security to their citizens, and if they're impotent to do so, then provide them the constitutional right of protecting themselves on their own.
That's a comment from Shahid Balochistan, who recently lost a family member in the Karachi bombings. So Salim, your thoughts on that?
First, I would absolutely not confirm that the Hazara youths are taking up arms. I have been in regular contact with the entire community. I have talked to the leaders. They are not picking up arms at first. Second, even if they have proved throughout the last 1 decade that they have remained a peaceful community, they will continue to remain a peaceful community, and they will continue to protest peacefully if the killings continue, if the atrocities against them are continued. Second, even if they try to pick up arms, everybody knows that Quetta city is a garrison city. Hazara community, Alamdar Road, is very, very near to Quetta Kent. So how would it be possible for a small community adjacent to Quetta Kent to pick up arms? The same with the Hazara town. Hazara town is surrounded by a number of military checkposts, a number of frontier guard checkposts. This would be very, very much impossible for a single Hazara to take up a single arm with themselves in Hazara town or out of Hazara town. So I would absolutely not agree with this, and I would not confirm that the Hazara youth will pick up arms. And
All right. I'm going to stop you there. I want to get in a last comment that we got from the Interior Minister. We asked him if Pakistan's army is either not capable or afraid to deal with groups like the LEJ, and here's what he said.
They are neither afraid, they are competent. When there is kind of mini insurgency, it's not a law and order situation. For the last 10 years, you know the way Balochistan is being dealt by the terrorists, by the proscribed organizations. You know how they have been in claiming. We have certain signatures where Lashkar-e-Jhangvi and PLA work together. And this is a collective responsibility of all the forces over there. Intelligence is giving a good backup. And that's why there's a reduction in crime there. There's a reduction in terrorist attacks. But of course, this is one of the biggest attack has happened, and particularly at this point of time. And of course, those who are involved, they are quite expert. So the intelligence agencies are doing their best.
Major Nader, he says that they are acting in the affirmative. They are doing their best. Is their best good enough?
I think it's a failure of the intelligence because the truck which exploded Hazara town, it traveled all the way from Lahore up to Quetta and up to Hazara town. So how come he says that intelligence is working properly with them? It is a failure, complete failure of the intelligence.
And what about the international community, Mohammed? Has the area been failed by the international community, the UN, human rights organizations?
It has. It has significantly. When I was driving up to your studio, I drove past the Holocaust Museum. As you know, the theme this month is Never Again. It does not have to be genocide up until the last member of a community dies. You have to intervene before that. You have to take action, and the world community in general has to take action. Someone has to hold Pakistani establishment and Pakistani political establishment's feet to fire and have them actually discharge their duty, responsibility as a sovereign entity.
Who's in the best position to do that?
There are multiple people who are from this particular city. We are providing tons of military aid to Pakistan Army. It has been going on for decades now. UK, EU, there is so many purse strings which, if pulled, would make Pakistan Army actually rein in these people. It has worked in the past, and it can work again. It can be made to work again. But more importantly, on a humanitarian level, it is the responsibility. I know that UN does not have a monitor or a watchdog, so to speak, for genocide prevention. But the least Ban Ki-moon can do is actually assign a special advisor or undersecretary to oversee the genocide situation in Pakistan. Sovereignty, like I said, is not license to kill. It is accountability. Pakistani state has to be held accountable for. And we are talking about numbers. The killing in Kuram went on from 2007 up until 2011 or so. For 3 years, the area was blockaded. 4,000 Shia were killed there, and nobody even reported that. The media is sanitizing the narrative. It is underreported. The total casualty perhaps is around 18 to 19,000 if I take into account those killed in the mass bombings. So there is a lot of blame to go around, but look, moving forward, what we need to do is we need to be proactive. Yes, Karachi, Quetta, Kuram, Peshawar, Lahore are under attack, but there's a lot that can be prevented. You are talking
as part of that prevention, because there says the way to prevent the Shia killings in Pakistan, invite the international community for support, which goes along the lines of what you were just saying. But I want to go to our hangout now for last thoughts from Shahroz. Go ahead.
Hello, excuse me, I want to say something.
Go for it.
Hello? Yeah, so coming to the topic of, Shia communities taking arms, if the government is not giving us the required support, not providing us security, then how are we supposed to defend ourselves? Shias and Hazaras have never gone on the ideology of revenge. How will we protect ourselves? Should we leave the country then? That's my main concern.
Well, so many already have.
Yes, they have, and a lot, actually, international community is shirking its responsibility. There have been reports where the Australians actually work with the Pakistani intelligence agencies to actually stem the exodus of Hazara from Pakistan. They were actually nabbing them at the airports, and some of those people, those Hazara people, Shia, were killed in Karachi. So international community has to come clean on this. This is something, today 2 Shia Hazara communities have been ghettoized with barbed wire and whatnot. Tomorrow there will be armbands. Hazara don't even need an armband. Their facial features just give them away. So this is we are at the cusp of Shia genocide, and if the international conscience is not woken up, I don't know what will. But I think it is the forums like this that actually can go a long way. And like I said, my appeal would be directly to the UN Secretary General to actually appoint an envoy to investigate and find out.
All right, Mohammed Taqi, that's all the time we have. But our thanks to all of our guests today. And between now and tomorrow, we want to see you online. So send us your thoughts and your questions and your video comments. It's streamed on aljazeera.com.